I absolutely believe that writing can transform healing in medicine. I'll say that for me personally, writing is a way to recapture time with myself and to engage with the stories that I exchange with my patients on a regular basis. It allows me to reflect on the genuine experiences of sorrow, love, frustration, humility, and pride that impact me each day that I get to do this job. Writing takes me out of my head and allows me to be with my heart. It helps me to see myself and my patients as fully human. And I believe this is actually where true healing really takes place, not just with our prescriptions or with more procedures, but in our ability to see ourselves in each other and our full humanity.
We have some data on that from, I think, the 80s or 90s, if not sooner, that it can transform healing or at least help with disease management in things from asthma through cancer. But transforming healing is something bigger, isn't it? And so I tend to think of that as something people do to deal with their motivation for self-healing and self-care, for managing stress or mental illness. And I have used that with patients who are able to engage in that way. There is, of course, also the question of transforming healing for the clinician. As a person who is both introvert and extrovert, I will say that writing allows my introvert self to flourish, really sort of leaving me the extrovert self to be very present in clinic. It's also an option to a way to reflect and to learn from my practice, to learn about myself, to learn what I've done wrong, to think about how to do it better, to consider other perspectives. And from that, I do believe it has transformed me as a healer. And I look forward to seeing all the other answers to this really important question. Thanks.
So I'm here in the Sobriety Garden here at Bellevue Hospital. The hospital's behind me. And to me, it's also the Serenity Garden because it gives me a lot of serenity and inner peace. And a lot of patients and families come out here. And writing does the same. Writing gives me a lot of inner peace and serenity. In a system that's filled with chaos and trauma and suffering, I think it gives the opportunity to process a lot of the emotions that I feel with my patients. As an infectious disease doctor, I treat patients who have COVID, HIV, monkeypox, that are many times the result of kind of structural and social inequity. And writing allows, I think, me, my patients, their families, to really connect and build community. When my writing resonates with others, I love kind of talking about how pain can lead to purpose.
I love the question, how can writing transform healing? Because I wrote a whole book called Healing, it's right there, When a Nurse Becomes a Patient, about my diagnosis of breast cancer and treatment, which was 5 years ago. And here I am, I'm still here, doing well. The book came out of a feeling that as a nurse, I was so surprised how lacking in compassion a lot of the care I got was. And I started to reflect back as I was being treated on instances when I was a nurse, when things hadn't gone well. And I thought, well, big picture, we're saving this person's life. They are going to get their chemo. It's just going to start a day later than they wanted. All kinds of things that we would call glitches in healthcare. But to patients, they're not glitches. They're terrible. There are these moments when you feel completely let down, you lose trust in the people taking care of you. And so writing the book for me was very healing in terms of writing about the lack of compassion that I felt, and then going back and saying, why in the richest country in the world have we created this assembly line healthcare where the caregivers don't have time to actually care for people the way that we would like to. And I wish all of you luck on your healing and writing journeys.
As a nurse practitioner at Bellevue for 35 years, the only writing that may have transformed or perhaps fostered healing was the personalized instructions I gave to patients, the written instructions, before they left the emergency room. As a writer, My writing has transformed me, yes, but it never could heal me or heal the reader. Healing was never what I was after as a writer. My last book was about an elderly daughter caring for her elderly father who died. It was fiction, not a memoir. But the daughter was me, of course, and the father was my father. And as I wrote it, it did transform me. It served only to deepen my loss, my regret, and my guilt.
Poetry and stories keep us grounded and engaged. They make us better seers, more tolerant of ambiguity, of inevitable work stress, and each other. A wealth of evidence-based data supports this. Every year, more healthcare training programs incorporate humanities education into their curricula. Even the Journal of the American Medical Association has a poetry page.
I started my clerkship year in January, so I've been involved in patient care for less than a year. This year has been a roller coaster ride filled with experiences that I've never had before. Some experiences have been really wonderful, like assisting in a surgery that will cure a patient of cancer, or helping a patient deliver their baby. But other experiences have been incredibly sad, like witnessing a patient die. Whenever this has happened to me, my team was caring for many other patients, so there was limited time to mourn or even discuss the death of the patient. Writing has been my outlet to process these difficult situations. It's given me the space to mourn the loss of the patient while also allowing me to reflect on how I can best care for the next patient who is on the brink of death due to terminal illness or trauma. Writing has helped me cope with the difficult experiences and medicine so that when I'm done with my training, I'll be a better doctor.
When I'm asked about this, I usually start with the work of Judith Lewis Herman. She is a psychologist, and in her large-scale study of trauma, called Trauma and Recovery, one of the ways that she defines trauma is as that which cannot be fit into narrative, an event that has no meaning and floats free of our understandings of the world. And recovery, in large part, consists of making meaning, of being able to tell a story in which the traumatic events have meaning in a person's life and purpose. And so what I would say is that writing is a way of making meaning. Writing is a way that we put something on a page and then we can see it from outside of ourselves. And writing and healing are not things that one does once. They're practices, they're processes. And so they're intimately connected. And they do have punctuated moments. We do finish things and send them out into the world. We do see the scab heal over and fall off. We do realize that we no longer have the cold that's been keeping us in bed. And so if we think about these things as processes that are intimately related, we can see why we're never done with writing, why we're never done with healing, and why these two things are something that we need to carry into the world. And the Bellevue Literary Review is a pretty great vehicle for it.